Nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. Before we get started, wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Hey guys, it's Penny here from Monaco Nail Academy, and today I'm joined by Pat.
Hi.
And by Mel.
Hi.
And we're doing a request episode this week from Caitlin, who wanted, well, her question was not really what we're going to do. Caitlin said, have you guys already done the differences between rubber base, brush on builder, and correction gel, which is a tiny small pocket of products? And then we're just turning that into talking about all of the different systems and pros and cons and having a natter about that. So the inspo was Caitlin's question, but we're going to go on a tangent because that's kind of our specialty.
Just a reminder, before we get started, do use my code PATSITIVE for 10% off all courses. I get a kickback from these enrollments, and they're how we support the production of the podcast. But I'm not the only one with a code, so Mel, what was yours?
Mine is Jungle Nails, so that will also get you 10% off.
So you can pick either of us, whoever you like more. Hint, hint, it should be me. Nah, jokes. You'll probably pick Mel. Back to you, Penny.
Back to you, Penny, like it's like a newscast.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, well, before we get stuck into this week's topic, Mel, can you sum up what we took away from last week?
Last week we talked about not taking things personally, which honestly is hard for me. I take pretty much everything personally, but we went through how we can not do that and the reasons why we shouldn't.
Mine is blank. I am a goldfish.
All right, so let's get stuck into this week's topic. And I think the easiest way to sort of make our way through all of the products is maybe to think of the A to B scale. Does one of you guys want to give a quick summary for our listeners of what the A to B scale even is for those who haven't done the theory of nails with us?
Do you want to, Pat, or do you want me to?
Can you do it, please?
Okay, so the A to B scale, it's like, I don't know, what's the word for it, not scale, like rating, diagram? Okay, so the A to B scale is like a diagram that shows you where all the products sit. So side A, the products are weaker, but have better like adhesion. And then you go along to side B, they're stronger, but they have less adhesion, along with like other benefits and pros and cons. But they sort of start from resin at the very top and then go all the way along to acrylic, which is the hardest. And then everything kind of filters along in a scale from there to like gel polish, builder, polygel, everything else sits on this scale. So yeah, that's what the A to B scale is.
So the A end is where our resins sit. And well, I don't know, do we cover silk nails? I know someone in one of our regional chats brought up silk nails the other day, and they are a resin-based system, but we don't really use them in New Zealand at all. Have either of you had any experience with silk nails?
I have not. I have seen people and I know people that use them, but I personally haven't used them.
The only thing I know about silk nails, I think it's silk nails, is back when people were using that system where you like to slap it onto your nails and you like use a mini heater to get it to stick on. Were those silk nails? I just remember that was a fad.
You mean jamberry?
Yeah, that one.
That they have not. No, they're not the same.
Oh, it's not.
Stickers, aren't they? And you like heat wrap them onto your nail.
So
were they stickers? I don't even know.
Kind of. So jamberry was a retail version of Minx, and Minx was a professional version of jamberry. But so I don't know much about jamberry. I know it got us a lot of trainees because we would have a whole heap of people. I think jamberry was like maybe like a you could be a jamberry consultant. It's like Avon or Tupperware or whatever, and we would get a lot of trainees that would say they were jamberry consultants and they wanted to become like qualified nail techs to complement their Jamberry business. So I don't know anything about Jamberry except that we got trainees out of them. But Minx, the professional version, was kind of a sticker, but not. You know how they heat wrap stuff to cars and boats?
Yes.
It was that, but for nails. So it wasn't like, I don't know what stickers are made of, but it was vinyl. And then you would size it and then heat it and then apply it. And then it would basically shrink wrap to the nail. So like, because Artistic and Minx had shared a lot of the same distributors. So we distributed Minx. I don't actually know what happened to Minx. Like, it kind of just lost popularity and we stopped getting it, but then I don't know if it still exists. But anyway, Minx, like if you put Minx on toes, you'd get just as long as you would gel polish. Like it would grow out. And then Minx on fingernails would wear a bit faster. But if you did like a good job, you could still get a solid 2 weeks out of Minx. But mostly in my salon, we did a lot of Minx toes. Like if someone booked for toes, there was a solid 50-50 chance they were getting Minx.
Interesting.
But it's not silk nails?
No, that's not even any, no. So silk nails, they have nothing in common with that. That it's like you just said, so a hot dog is not a muffin? Like, no. So
Just goes to show I don't know anything about silk nails. And I tried Googling it the other day because someone was talking about it in one of the group chats. And then I was like, I still don't know what this is, and I'm confused.
okay, so imagine dip, but for everyone that doesn't know what dip is, imagine resin. And resin can look kind of like polish, but it's more closely related to glue. But resin is our most A-est thing on the A to B scale. It is cyanoacrylate based. It is an acrylate. If any of this means nothing to you, you really need to enroll in the Theory of Nails at monaco.ac.nz. But it is a nail system and something that we use a lot. And so with silk nails, you take a layer of resin, which is the same thing that you do with dip or SNS, and then you layer a piece of silk, which doesn't look like a nightie. It looks like a tea bag. Like it's really fine. And you literally layer a piece of fabric. And then you use activator, which instead of being in a bottle like for dip or SNS, is in a little spritzy spray bottle. And then you do another layer. And you layer up, instead of resin, dip powder, it's resin, silk. And they're really thin, but fairly strong, but fiddly. And just like, I know there are a few nail techs around that still offer them, but I think it's kind of like how, you know, how dip and SNS came back when they had been obsolete for like 20 years. Maybe silk will do the same, but it's kind of in the same genre where just not that many people do it.
Okay.
But it is not the same as Jamberry.
Okay. Where would Jamberry or Minx fall on the A to B scale? Just out of curiosity.
Like 3 doors down.
Next
It's
door.
not even there on the scale.
No, it's not an acrylate.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's
It's a
vinyl.
vinyl. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So, okay, so you've got those products, and then I guess next in line would be dip, because I know that none of us use silk nails, so but that's what they are. And I mean, they're fairly strong, but they're better for overlays. You can't really do a long extension with them or anything. I don't know, people liked them because they felt natural. But okay, but silk, back to silk that no one does. Silk's popularity was like where before gel polish existed. So silk was popular when acrylic was kind of your only option. Like you want acrylic or you want normal nail polish. What do you want? And then silk nails filled the gap because it wasn't like chunky and difficult and whatever, all the things of old technology acrylic, but it also, yeah, it was nice and thin and natural and blah, blah, blah.
Can you make extensions with silk nails?
I am I'm not confident enough to I feel like, yes, people used to do small extensions, but nothing like you'd never do a stiletto or anything. But I might be making that up. You might not be able to do extensions at all, but I'm pretty sure you can do a short one.
It's mostly for like fixes, eh? If there's like
There's like silk nail techs though that like all they do is and it's like the equivalent of gel polish because gel polish didn't exist. So you would get silk nails as a natural alternative to getting acrylic extensions.
Okay.
Can you like color them and stuff?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But something more interesting is stuff we actually use. So what about dipping systems? So most people refer to dipping systems as SNS, but SNS is just a brand. So for listeners that are maybe totally baby and maybe aren't even enrolled in a course, does one of you want to sum up dip in like 30 seconds or less kind of thing?
I think that's for you, Mel, because I've never used dip in my life.
Okay, so dip is basically a powder. Should I say acrylic powder or will that confuse people?
I mean, it's an acrylic, and if they are confused, they should enroll in the theory of nails.
Okay, so dip powder is an acrylic, which we then just apply a different way. So liquid and powder, right? You mix your monomer and your powder to create your bead. Dip powder, you apply your resin and then dip your finger into the acrylic, which then sticks to it. And then you go through other steps to polymerize it with your activator and stuff like that. And then it creates your finished product once you've been through all the steps. But yeah, it's an acrylic that you apply with the resin, just in a different way. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Do you use it in your salon, Mel?
Not anymore. I did when I first started, but then it kind of just faded off and people stopped asking for it. I think when Builder came along, a lot of people switched to Builder. So then I just stopped offering it because I was paying to keep these like products in stock that nobody was really using. So
Yeah.
I don't do it anymore.
When it first sort of came back into fashion, I did it heaps. Like half my clients were dip. And part of that, I think, was because so many people were asking about it. Because for those of you that don't know, dip is like 40-year-old technology. Like it was hip and cool 35, 40 years ago and then became obsolete when other better products came out. But because it's obsolete and the company still exists, it's now really cost effective, like the original brands. So it became really cost effective for high volume mall salons to bring in. And then people that were going to those salons thought it was new because that's how obsolete it had been. And the market demand for this fancy new product that people liked because it didn't smell and it still lasted and whatever meant that a lot of the other big nail companies had no choice but to bring out dip systems as well to compete in that market. So dip, I'm just telling you this so that you're aware that like dip is old technology that had a resurgence. But then, yeah, like kind of same as you, Mel, when it first came back out and Artistic made a really nice, good quality dip, I was doing it on like half my clients. And it's so fun. I still think it's so fun to do. But then when Builder in a bottle, that we'll talk about in a second, started to become more common or, I don't know, more
just known about it. Like more people started to get it. So then, you know, like, oh, Linda down the road has this thing called Builder. Like, what's that? It just became more, and it kind of just overshadowed dip, I think.
But I reckon still not no one. Hold on, I have to mute because the dog's going crazy.
Are you taking notes, Pat?
I'm just listening. We're gonna be doing our dip module soon, I think, in our foundation, in our accountability group.
I did like it, but I really struggled to get it as nice looking as gel polish. Like, yeah, I didn't love it. It still suited some clients though.
Yeah, I did love it wholeheartedly. Builder in a Bottle's better. And when Builder in a Bottle came out and became a thing, it's just so much better. And I just started sort of talking to people about getting Builder instead and directing people that way. A lot of people in in my salon ask for dip, because we all know I'm in a holiday town, and I know you were as well, Mel, but yours had a higher population, much higher population than mine. So I don't know if that's where the difference lies, but especially over summer, I get so many people asking for dip or just using the word SNS, which is a brand. And so I do still offer it. However, generally what happens is people book in for it. I talk to them about Builder in a Bottle, and then they get Builder in a Bottle. But if someone's insistent, I will happily do it because I think it's really fun.
Can you backfill dip?
No. So that's one of the, I mean, some brands say you can backfill it once, but it's a really solid product. It's really difficult to file when compared to gels and stuff, and even acrylic. Like, I'd say out of all the products that are common, it's probably the hardest to file. And so if you're backfilling it, you have to really thin it down, because you can only add full layers. You can't, if you tried to just fill in the back, literally, you're then going to have to file it smooth. Whereas if you work in full layers, there's very little filing to do. Like, I know Mel just said she didn't find it easy to get it looking as nice, but like I could do it without filing because I was doing it so much, and it did look really nice. But if you were to backfill it, you would have to, that you couldn't get away with not filing. It's so much faster and easier to take it off and do it again.
Yeah, but it's just like
My only experience with dip is doing a removal for it, because I had a model and I was supposed to do I think gel on her or something, and then she came in but she had product on her hands, and I was like, okay, we're gonna have to take that off, otherwise I can't sit my lesson. And I just remember being very frustrated trying to get it off, and so yeah, I don't have happy experiences with dip. I don't know.
So the removal with dip is very broad experiences in general. So with the artistic dip, and I'm not saying this to plug artistic, it's just that this is what I used. But the artistic dip being a newer version of dip technology, it has AAA grade powder, which means it's really fine. It still needs to be thinned with an E-file, but if you thin it with an E-file and then wrap it up, I could still get it off and redone in about 50 minutes, like 50, to take it off and do it again. So it's not as fast as gel polish, but it's comparable to what I do with Builder in a Bottle now, backfilling, right? But then if you take a less high quality product that, say, for example, has the same characteristics as the 40-year-old technology, the powder is not AAA grade. It's much thicker, it's much coarser, and it's much harder to soak off. So what we do in Salon here, because again, holiday town means not everybody is a regular. We get a lot of people who are booking in and we'll never see them again, but they're coming to us with dip on. And they usually get annoyed, because the way that we do it is, if you want me to soak off your dip and I didn't do it in the first place, then we charge $75 for removal alone. But while it's wrapped up, we paint your toes, like do a free express pedicure. So we're trying to make it worth your money by giving you this like extra service while we wait. But people don't want to pay $75 to get it removed, because then if they want something put back on, they're paying for that too. But the thing is that my first summer here, I was booking in the amount of time I would have booked for myself, and then causing my entire day to end up behind because it was taking so freaking long to get off these shitter quality dip systems. So that's what we've ended up having to do. But like, yeah, that's what I mean. It's a really broad range of experiences with dip, because the good quality products, I can get them off and on again in 50 minutes. But the bad quality products, I take 50 minutes just to get off.
Is Pat frozen or just stunned?
I'm here. I'm just like reflecting on, wow, okay, so dip is just, there's just the spectrum of experiences. And yeah, I am interested to see how I'm gonna go when I learn how to use dip.
Well, you'll be using a good quality brand though. And like, we've got a graduate who specializes in dip up north, who like loves it. And for sure, if you specialized in it and you use the same brand consistently, it's not a slow service. You can get it off, put it back on. It is strong. It has lots of fun colors. It's easy. It's just that it's also, I prefer to be able to backfill if possible. And also it can get really brittle, so it's not good for people who have their hands in water a lot or like work in environments that would make their skin dry or their nails brittle. Yeah, so like any service, it has pros and cons. It's just that I think that it generally fits the gap that Builder in a Bottle also fits, which is strength and longevity for natural nail services. And if you're going to compare them apples for apples, they serve the same purpose, but Builder in a Bottle does it better. Before we continue on with the podcast, I just wanted to take a quick ad break to talk to you about our Salon Success course. So this podcast, being the Salon Success Podcast, is based around lessons that we teach in our massive business and marketing course, Salon Success, which you can get at monaco.ac.nz/course/marketing. But so gel polish is, I guess, what people are most familiar with now, although I will say it's not shellac. Shellac is a brand of gel, but I guess everybody's pretty familiar with gel polish. But basically it's UV cured instead of solvent-based polish. So like a normal nail polish is pigment, binders, and solvents, like things that evaporate. And then gel polish is pigment and acrylics, so things that cure. So people always talk about how the like clients, will say, oh, it's so crazy how fast it dries. And it's not drying, it's curing, it's hardening. No part of it is evaporating during that process. And that's part of why it's so strong. It's also bonding to the natural nail, not sitting on top of it. So that's another thing. So what do you guys want to talk about your experiences with gel and your pros and cons that you see for gel polish?
I love using gel. Yeah, like as a person who got into nails, doing nails for myself, and I started by like trying to do nail art and trying to do like just doing my nails with traditional polish. And it was so frustrating because it would dry so quickly and then it would get lumpy and annoying. Maybe that was just me and I didn't know what I was doing. But when I started using gel, especially after I studied it properly, after I started studying it properly instead of just mucking around with retail products, I just found that gel was a lot easier to use. The fact that it would cure really quickly, unlike when you use traditional polish and then it'll take like an hour for it to dry, and then you walk and then you smudge it anyway, and it's so frustrating. But the fact that it cures under the UV light, like that's so helpful. Yeah, I just really enjoy it. I think it's really cool, and you can do lots with gel. Like you use it with other systems, like it goes on top because you're doing art or you're trying to add pretty colors, and that's just good. I like it. I even have gel on my toes, even though your toe polish lasts forever, even with traditional. Like it's just nice with gel because it's less likely to chip or anything.
I think the main thing with gel is like it's the only system that you kind of have to have. I always kind of guide people that they need gel polish, like they need a color system, and it's really either gel polish or normal nail polish. So what are you going to do? You're going to do gel, and then you need a way to extend, and then you need something for strength in between, like when you're kind of trying to choose what services to offer. And you can offer everything. Like if you like it all, who cares? Do it all. But at a bare minimum, you need gel, an extension product, and something in between. So gel is like, yeah, it's got pros and cons, but it doesn't really have a competitor in terms of choosing a system for your salon.
Yeah, I agree. Like traditional polish is kind of on its way out. Obviously, it suits some people who don't like the soak off process, or acetone irritates them, whatever. But yeah, gel polish is definitely like number one in the game at the moment. I feel like, yeah, most people want gel polish, if not Builder underneath their gel polish or whatever. But yeah, gel polish is no-brainer. Like, you have to supply gel polish if you want to run a salon.
Yeah, I find that gel polish is almost like you have to do it pretty much every service because, like you said, Mel, even if you're doing builder in a bottle, lots of people will want gel on top to add color or just to add some pizzazz. And even with if you're doing acrylics or something, you might not want just the plain colored acrylics. Maybe you want art or something on top. So you kind of, like you said, Penny, kind of have to know how to use gel. And it's so good that why wouldn't you want to have gel and offer gel? It's kind of like standard. Even if I feel like I haven't done a lot of paid services that are just gel, I kind of feel like I do gel pretty much every service that I'm doing, if that makes sense. Like it just kind of comes with something else. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And then you'll have people like me who not steer, but the demand for me to do extensions living in a beach town and, well, used to, it kind of, gel polish and builder gel became my main thing. So I was like using gel polish a lot. And like you said, Pat, you don't feel like you've done many people that just get gel polish. Probably half my clients just used to get gel polish. No builder, no extensions, no nothing. Just gel polish with a little bit of art or whatever, but it was just gel polish.
Back in my day, gel polish didn't exist, and I had a collection of 50 acrylic powders because that's how we colored things. Was you had colored acrylic. Like you could do a set of acrylics and paint it with normal nail polish, but if you wanted anything fun, like we would sculpt in a glitter fade. Like it was all colored acrylic. You would sculpt in a colored French tip, or you would thin it out and overlay it with a new acrylic powder color. It was so different.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it seems like so much work. Like, oh.
Like my stress levels are going up just thinking about having to do that because acrylics and I were not best friends at the moment, trying to get better. But wow, okay. Back in your day, like what a pro.
But you know how you
Amazing.
get best friends with acrylic is when it's all you can do because it's all that exists, you get good at acrylic.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
It's invaluable, I reckon. Like I see students asking a lot, like, oh, should I even bother studying acrylic? Like I always say, yeah, you should. Like the knowledge you're going to gain, even if you don't end up offering it, the knowledge you'll gain from it in regards to like this A to B scale, like where it sits and where you think they should sit as a client. And just, yeah, the knowledge of like the products, the chemicals, all that stuff is like invaluable when you're talking to a client and trying to advise them what's best for them. Like, yeah, definitely don't just go like, oh nah, I don't want to do acrylic, so I'm just not going to do it. Like I always say you should at least get the knowledge.
It's funny with you, Pat, saying how like that sounds terrifying. Like, well, you just wouldn't have become a nail tech because that's all nails was. Like my course was 12 lessons and 10 of them were acrylic and 2 of them were quote unquote hard gel, which I put in quotes because hard gel back then no longer, it was, what was it like? Maybe closest to something like Light Elegance. Like it was a brush on, it was like gel polish in a pot, but thicker. And you would layer clear gel with colors and then clear gel on top. But it wasn't gel polish. It was like builder gel, but it had to be paint. You also couldn't work in beads. Like it could, because it would get so hot, even in non-LED, like a 3-minute cure, it would have got hot if you put a bead. So you painted thin layers, but you would build up a gel nail by doing like 5, 6, 7 layers of clear, curing for 3 minutes each. And then the second to last layer or the last 2 would be color and then finish it with like clear again. So you'd sandwich color in right at the end, but it had to be sandwiched. It couldn't be on its own. But so yeah, my course that I did was 12 lessons, 10 of them acrylic, 2 of them this like fancy gel stuff that no one ever asked for. And then that's all you did. So if you didn't want to do acrylic, you didn't become a nail tech because being a nail tech was doing acrylic.
Oh my gosh, technology has come so far in the nail technology industry. Like, look at, like, what? That's wild to me.
Lucky for us. I
You
definitely
just
would.
didn't know any different. You just did it, and it was fun.
I do admit, even though I'm not great at acrylic, I always find it so much fun to use. But we're not talking about acrylic right now, but
We
yeah.
can. We don't have to follow the A to B scale. We can talk about acrylic.
Let's talk about acrylic then. So acrylic's right at the top of the scale, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So acrylic's right at the other end, at the B end. So it's the hardest product. But the con side of that is it's got less adhesion. What's the other things? Less flexibility?
Yeah, less flexibility.
Less flexibility, but also tell me why flexibility matters, because I reckon Joe Bloggs listening to this is like, who cares if it's flexible or not? I think they're imagining bendy nails, and that's not what it means.
I think, okay, wait. I'm trying to, if I recall correctly from Theory of Nails, the flexibility is important in terms of just the wearability and how natural it feels to have a certain product on your nails. Like, for example, with gel, it's very flexible. So it just kind of feels like your natural nails. It kind of like bends and flexes as you're doing stuff. Not like literally it's going to turn into a noodle, but if you are wearing acrylic, like you're wearing an acrylic overlay or acrylic extensions, it's quite rigid. So if you're doing something like, I don't know, horseback riding, because that was the example that kept coming up in Theory of Nails, or maybe you lift weights a lot, it's quite rigid. So you'll really feel that it's just there. And if it's not flexible and it's not moving with you, then there's a higher chance of breakage because it's just too rigid. So you do need to be careful with acrylic, even though acrylic is like super duper strong, the strongest one. That lack of flexibility is a detriment to it. Also, it's not as adhesive.
Pretty much. Like, I mean, I always use the example of slamming your hand in a door, because if you had long natural nails and you slam your hand in the door, they might split, and they might split part way, and you might get like a white line where they've been bent backwards, but they will very rarely actually snap off. Whereas acrylic is so inflexible that it has no choice but to break.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that brings back a memory for me. So I remember when I was younger, I used to read Archie comics, and this sounds like a tangent, but it's related, I promise. And in the comics, it would come up every now and then. Like Veronica will be like, I broke a nail. And I remember I had long nails at the time, and I would be like, I don't understand. Like, how do you break a nail? And it makes sense now that she must have had acrylic nails on, because the first time I ever broke a nail was like last year. Like, it actually broke. I had acrylic extensions on. And then I slammed my hand against the wall because I didn't realize how long my nails were, and I don't have any concept of my body. And I slammed my hand against the wall, and then it just fully broke. And I was like, I broke a nail. That's a real thing. So that's, yeah, I just remembered that. Okay, there you go.
Flexibility to me, like when it comes to my mind, like when you say explain flexibility, to me it's like, is it going to flex with your own nail or not? So like if you come to me and say you're a swimmer, acrylic ain't for you, because every time you get in the water, like your natural nail's going to move and flex and become like softer with the water. The acrylic isn't going to move. It's not going to flex and move with your nail. So it's going to lift away. It's going to peel away. Like that's what it is to me. That's what I think when I say flexibility, or when I think flexibility.
Yeah, that's for sure true as well.
Or like a dishwasher, you know, like then yeah, acrylic isn't for you, because it's not going to flex with your natural nail as it flexes.
It's definitely a high maintenance system, right? Like if you're gonna wear acrylic, you need to be committed to it and take care of your nails. Like you need to be wearing gloves and stuff and not slam your hands into the door.
Well, okay, wait. I kind of beg to differ, because I think that all services are high maintenance unless they are the right service for you. Because if you're not wearing the right thing, the right system for your lifestyle, your natural nail makeup, the way that you use them and that sort of thing, they're all high maintenance. Like if you have dip in water all the time, it's going to shatter within like 2 or 3 days. If you have I don't know, if you need really, really strong nails and you're wearing builder in a bottle, it probably won't cope. Whereas like acrylic definitely has its pros and cons like everything else, but its cons are only cons if they affect the individual. On the flip side, it is the strongest, like we said before. So even though we're talking about inflexibility, meaning that it can break, it's also, if you are hard on your nails, it is going to withstand a lot. It's also the most versatile product that exists because you can do anything with it. Like all of the shapes, all of the, like, you can completely change the structure of a nail. You can create flowers and 3D art, and like there's no other product that you can do as much with as you can do with acrylic.
You know when like Cardi B and those other people who really love those really, really long stilettos, are those likely to be acrylic nails or would they be hard gel or something?
They probably are, right?
Because they're so long. Like, would it make sense for it to be any other system or would it most likely be acrylics? Especially because they have so much beautiful bling and it's just the nails are so wild and crazy. And I would love to do nails like that if people would let me. But it's like, would that be acrylic? Like in my mind, they're acrylic.
I
But I
don't
could be
know.
wrong.
They just like press-on styles. Does she wear them all the time or just like when she's performing or what?
Who, Cardi B?
Yeah.
I feel like she's committed to having her nails done. I used to follow her nail tech and then I lost the account and now I'm like, oh no, how will I know what system it is? Maybe I should just quickly Google Cardi B nail tech.
It probably is,
Like,
like, I would guess. Unless she's wearing them all the time, then it could be hard gel because hard gel sits up just below acrylic on that side of the scale, but hard gel you can't soak off. So if she's doing it all the time, they well could be hard gel and they just backfill it. I don't know.
I would do it with acrylic.
Yeah, I would imagine that they are, but I don't know.
But then also, actually, if she's getting them done all the time, they could be preformed soft gel extensions.
Like
but
press-on
they're
style.
so long though. Like, are
Have
there
you
any
seen
preformed
preformed
soft gels?
soft gel extensions?
Even the mediums are long.
Yeah.
The extra
No,
long.
but they're like super long. You've seen Cardi B's nails, right? They're like extreme.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Does she wear them all the time or is it just for when she's like performing? Because then if it is, they probably are like preformed press-on styles. If it's all the time, then yeah, I would guess it's acrylic.
I have no idea. Maybe I should follow Cardi B on Instagram.
Ask her, hey, it's Pat here.
Hey, tell me about your nails, Cardi B. I love it. Maybe I should message her her nail tech, who I have found. Her name is Jenny Boy, and she's from Nails on 7th.
Message her. Be like, hey.
Hi, tell me more about the nails. I'm from New Zealand.
Well, Google says that Khloe Kardashian's are acrylic.
I guess it's the easiest, and fastest, like.
Okay, it is. I think you guys are right. It looks like it might be gel extensions. It looks like Jenny Boy has a collaboration with Apres, and they have an XXXL stiletto tip.
Oh, okay. Question answered. There you go. It's gel. Question: where do gel-ons sit on the scale?
I would put them between builder and hard gel probably, because they're soft gel. They're not hard gel, but they're also, yeah, I'd say a bit above builder in a bottle, because what makes them strong is not the product they're made out of, but the preforming. Like, they are perfect. They have perfect structure. They have perfect thickness throughout the structure. Like, that's what makes them strong, is the fact that somebody worked out what perfect structure was and then replicated it. There's no room for human error. When we're sculpting gel, we can mess it up, and then our structure isn't perfect, so they're not as strong. So yeah, I would say it's pretty much a smidgen above builder in a bottle.
Okay, so acrylic's right at the top. Below that is hard gel, right?
Polygel.
Polygel and then hard gel.
Yeah. So if you go from A to B, because I can only do it A to B in my head easily, you've got resins, which would be silk nails, linen nails, and then dip nails. Dip is a little bit of a gray area because it incorporates polymer, which is technically at the top end. So it's a little bit mushy, but you've got the resins, then gel polish, then builder in a bottle. Then I would probably put dip as a combo next, then I would say soft gel extensions, hard gel extensions, poly gel, liquid and powder acrylic.
Interesting.
So what haven't we covered yet?
I loved learning about that scale.
Me too.
I don't
So-
think we've covered builder, polygel, soft gel, and hard gel. Where do rubber base and brush on gel fit into the scale? Because that was Caitlin's question, right?
I was literally just alt-tabbing over to get her original question when you said that. So,
I'm
okay.
a mind reader.
Rubber base, brush on builder or builder in a bottle, and correction gel are the 3 products that she mentioned. So rubber base is a gel polish base coat, and it has no rubber in it. It's just a really flexible, really good base coat. I mean, it's more than that technology wise, but like it's a gel polish base that is a step up. And then correction gel is an artistic specific product that is essentially a thin viscosity builder in a bottle. And then builder in a bottle or brush on builder is a thick gel polish-ish. The thing that we all need to understand is that everything is on a scale. And yeah, you could literally put these things in the A to B scale. But what I don't think we've touched on is the fact that everything on the A to B scale is made of the same stuff. So it's all made from monomer. And when people are saying like, oh, I don't wear acrylics because of this, or I don't like this because of this reason, they're all the same thing. If you get gel because you don't like acrylic, that's fine. You can not like acrylic because it's not flexible or like whatever, or it doesn't feel as natural. You can't say that you're getting gel because acrylic ruined your nails, because they are all the same thing. All that ruins your nails is the way something is applied, looked after, or taken off. The actual product itself cannot ruin your nails. So all of these products are the same thing, processed in different ways. They're all a recipe of monomers that are turning into a solid plastic. And then you get all these different characteristics. And gel in general has just evolved.
Yeah. I hate when people say, I want dip because it's healthier for my nails. It's literally the same thing.
So if people ask, like sometimes clients will refer to builder in a bottle being invented, but it wasn't invented. None of these things, like they've all evolved. Builder in a bottle didn't just magically be invented. What happened is you have acrylic, not acrylic, acrylate technology, which is originally dental technology. And then you have wives of dentists experimenting with it in different ways, and you evolve to get nail products, right? But so you've got plastic technology long before it's used for nails. It's used for all sorts of different things, taking monomers and polymerizing them into solids. It evolves to be used on fingernails. And originally, the only way that you can use a gel on, I guess originally it has to be acrylic, because you take monomer, which is essentially the raw form of gel or plastic or acrylic or all of those things, and you have the finished form, which is the powder or the solid, and you mush them together, and you don't. All of the scientists are screaming at me for wording it like that, but and you get the nail. When people go, okay, but also halfway in that process is an oligomer, and it feels like gel-ish, so could we just put that thing on people's nails? Originally, no, because as soon as you try and cure it, it will catch fire, literally. So then technology evolves to the point that it no longer heats up to catch fire, but if you don't want it to burn the person, you have to cure it very slowly in a UV 3-minute cure lamp, and you have to do it in extremely thin layers, and you have to keep it really thick so that it's not, because the thicker something is, the slower it moves. So you need to slow every part of it down. With the cure, with the thickness, with the viscosity, with every part of it, you need to slow it the F down or it will hurt. So originally that's all you can do. But then technology evolves more, and now you can keep it thicker again and sculpt with it and keep the cure in a way that it doesn't burn, but you still can't put it in a bottle. You have to have it in a pot, and it's really thick. And now you have hard gel. and hard gel has evolved. So now we have hard gel and we can make nails out of hard gel. That process evolves, and then you can get it thin enough that you can put it in a bottle and it doesn't heat up so much that it burns someone, but it's also now got no strength to it, and you've just evolved gel polish. So then you're going like, wouldn't it be nice if we had something in the middle, and you eventually get to a point where you have something that is strong, but also thin enough to go in a bottle, but also doesn't catch fire, and you've evolved to have builder in a bottle. And so all of these things are just evolutions of each other. It's just the same thing with better technology getting different characteristics. So rubber base can be put into the same conversation as being something that we were able to evolve to have it thin, but stronger than gel polish, but thin enough to paint, but to have extra plasticizers in it so that it is extra flexible, so that you have heaps of adhesion. Correction gel is another evolution where you go, okay, before builder in a bottle was mastered, we can't get this, what we would call builder in a bottle now, but what we can get is a thicker gel polish that's stronger but still doesn't burn people. And then you've got builder in a bottle. Those were Caitlin's 3. So I don't know if any of that made sense, but like then none of them were invented except maybe the first one, I guess, but like they're all evolutions and changes in technology. And then we just go, hey, you know what I kind of need is like, I love gel polish, but it's just not strong. How do we make it stronger? Well, at the moment we can't make it stronger because it would burn people. Okay, well, let's work on the lab in a gel polish that is stronger but doesn't hurt people. And then you evolve to get correction gel, and then you go, you know what, this is really great and this is solving a problem, but wouldn't it be great if we could make it even stronger and get structure out of it so people's nails didn't break anymore? And then they work on that in the lab, and then they get builder in a bottle. And like it'll just keep, at the moment builder in a bottle still has massive heat spikes and it can't be extended into stilettos, so that'll be where it evolves next. And like polygel that we haven't touched on yet is sort of there, like it's sort of it's a curable product, but it is developed way differently, and it's much thicker and it is stronger, but it also has its flaws. I just think that the next evolution of technology will be heading back towards how gelish things, like basically if we could take builder in a bottle and remove the heat spike and be able to get the same strength from acrylic, then acrylic would be obsolete. But it's all evolution.
Yeah, it makes total sense. But in my mind, I'm just like, ooh, they've just magically like discovered this great new product and like, wow, look how good it is. Like, you just think like, but yeah, it makes sense. Like you get an egg and go, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I could like put this on my toast? So let's like add a bit of milk and make it scrambled eggs. Like
The history of nail technology is so fascinating. Like, oh, there's so much to it. Okay, how good.
Pat, did you know that OPI, I can't remember the right word. OPI is a dental acronym.
Is it genuinely? What does it stand for?
I can't remember the O word because I know it's not like, what's the O? Is orthodontist? That's a dentist, right? It's not.
I think so.
It's not Orthodontic Products Incorporated, because that's the word that sticks in my head and I know that's wrong. But it was a dental company, and then they developed their products into being able to do nails as a side hustle, and then nails took over and they stopped doing dental. But OPI stands for dental products.
So I just Googled it, and OPI stands for Odontorium Products Incorporated. And you're right, they were founded as a dental supply company in 1981. That is wild to me. Whoa. Can we become dentists? Like, since we use similar products, maybe?
What? Toes aren't bad enough for you, now you want bad breath and teeth?
It was just a random thought. That's very ADHD of me.
All right, so I think we kind of touched on them all, but to sum up, Pat, what's your number one product that you love working with and why?
At the moment, I really love working with Builder in a Bottle because I love that it is quite flexible and natural feeling, but it's still really strong and the adhesion is really good. And I just aced my exam for it, so I'm like, yeah, I love Builder in a Bottle. Yeah, I think it's really cool. I just love it. Oh, but I do want to say I think part of why Builder in a Bottle made sense to me was because I did acrylics first. One thing I noticed was that some of my friends who were doing Builder in a Bottle, they were struggling with like the filing and blah blah blah. But we go over the 10 filing steps so extensively during acrylic, like liquid and powder, that you just you're able to transfer those skills to Builder in a Bottle. And I think that really helped me with Builder in a Bottle. So even though I love Biab or Builder in a Bottle, it just feels weird to keep saying Builder in a Bottle. I really do recommend learning liquid and powder or acrylics. And I'd really need to sit that exam and hopefully pass it.
What about you, Mel?
Yeah, I agree with Pat. That's what I was saying earlier about just the things you'll learn about filing structure, all that stuff transfers to other products. But anyway, my favorite is probably gel polish, only because I really love like the arty side of it that you can do with gel polish. Sometimes Builder, but I use Builder more just for support under the gel polish, and then I have fun with the gel polish. But extension products, my favorite is probably polygel.
I like doing polygel, but I don't do it.
I really like it that there's no like rush on it, or not rush, but like with acrylic, once you get your bead, it goes through its processes whether you're ready or not. Polygel, you decide when it goes in the lamp. That's what I really like.
Just before we wrap up, I want to take a quick minute to remind you about our course Salon Success, which is a comprehensive online course covering everything you could possibly want to know about starting a business and marketing your salon. You can find out more about that at www.monaco.ac.nz/course/marketing.
And remember, if you do sign up for the Salon Success module, you can use my code Jungle Nails, and that'll get you 10% off your enrollment. I do get a little kickback from that code.
Or you can use mine, Patsative.
And with that done and dusted, before you disappear, like our page or follow the podcast so that you don't miss the next episode. Spotify also now has commenting, so feel free to test that out and let us know which service intrigues you the most from what we talked about today. We will be back next week. Mel, what are we covering next week?
Next week we are talking about how to put your prices up. So that'll be very interesting, that one.
So until then, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching Monaco Nail Academy, or follow our salons. Mine is Hard Lacquer NZ. Mel?
Mine's Jungle Nails.
And Pat?
And mine is patsative.beauty.
Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.